Nice. Okay. Well, so we're going to talk about the album Flying River by my band. On the far left, that's Andy. In the middle, that's me. And on the right is Glenn. And Andy is the audio technician and the drummer, and he was the main collaborator with me in the project. And Glenn is kind of the electronic music like guru. So kind of how it's going to flow tonight, I'm going to give a little bit of a sense of how the project happened, how it emerged, what the kind of themes and the commitments in the songwriting were, and then we'll just dive in and we'll listen to the songs, and then we'll talk about them and whatnot. I want to say that that this is my final project for my MDiv. But it didn't start out like that. It in the time when I had to decide, like, okay, am I going to do a project or a thesis? I just realized, like, oh, I've been doing this huge musical project through my whole time at Union, and it emerged completely out of like my experience of being here, and the theological questionings, and all the whole thing that this experience has been, I think, is reflected in the project. So I said, let's do it. Even though the album isn't specifically theological, I think it was coming from my own questioning. So the beginning of this project was this massive playlist of 139 songs. We compiled, this is in late 2019, we compiled this playlist, and it was basically like jams, B-sides, like side project songs from all three of Andy, Glenn, and I. And so we had this huge playlist, and I happened to entitle it Flying River, which I had just learned about at the time. I just thought it was a really beautiful phrase, and it stuck. So the Flying River is a movement of a large quantity of water vapor transported in the atmosphere from the Amazon basin to other parts of South America. The forest trees release water vapor into the atmosphere through transpiration, and this moisture is deposited in other localities in the form of precipitation, forming a virtual river. Hey! And it just stuck. Like, we tried other album names, but we were just like, Flying River, that feels right. So really no thought went into it. So throughout like 2020, we whittled it down to like our favorite 50 songs, and then our favorite 20 songs, and then finally in January 2021, we chose our 7 favorite songs, and that's what ended up being the record. So we came at it with like a couple like core commitments. The first one, we just wanted to make a pop record, like a record that was discernibly pop music, not like indie pop. I think we'd been working on like the outskirts of pop music at the time, like, but it was always that indie pop vibe. But we wanted to make something that was like, okay, this when people hear this, they will recognize this as pop music. I don't know if we did that. I don't know if any of these commitments we achieved, but that's what we were going for. We knew like right off the bat that that was going to involve was like a really close attention to like production detail, just a really careful work with the instrumentals, and a really polished vocal sound. And importantly, no song over 3.5 minutes. So the second commitment that we came into, and this is a really important to me, is the priority of the listener. I want to share a quote that became kind of like our mantra or North Star. This is from J.R.R. Tolkien in his introduction to Lord of the Rings. I cordially dislike allegory in all its manifestations, and always have done so since I grew old and wary enough to detect its presence. I much prefer history, true or feigned, with its varied applicability to the thought and experience of the readers. I think that many people confuse applicability with allegory, but the one resides in the freedom of the reader and the other in the purpose domination of the author. Allegory, I have a one-to-one. It's my job as the author or the musician to convey that to the listener or the reader. Applicability is more like a Rorschach ink blot. You know, it's the purpose of the song is to like for the listener to take ownership of it, to feel as though it's something that they can write their own meaning onto. Does that make sense? It's not about like, oh, let me like convey what I think this song is about. Like to me, a good song is a song that I can listen to in many, many different seasons of life, and all that life brings, and like it's a gift that keeps giving. They kind of have many interpretations. So yeah, it's about giving the agency to the listener. So with that, I do want to say just a disclaimer, which is that like we're going to be talking about like what the inspiration for the songs were, and that's something I would never do in front of an audience because of exactly this. Like it belongs to the listener. It doesn't matter what I think it's about. And relatedly to this is this idea of song catching, which I think is really, really important. And I think it's kind of a method or orientation that I've found helpful in like channeling applicability. And this is a quote that I love from Bobby McFerrin. You know that the songs are out there and they're just simply waiting for me to reach out and grab one. Reach out for it and grab it and pull it down and have it come out of my mouth. So it's like the songs are out there. And my job as a songwriter isn't to like bring forth something in me. It's to clear myself out enough that I can be available for a song to make itself known through me. And again, like, is that a thing that I can achieve? Like, no, but it's an aspiration. It's something that I try to channel. Third commitment, pop music with a message. I think the issue with a lot of pop music is that there is a propensity for the status quo to be like reinscribed with the pop music. And so one of the things that I was really thinking about was like, okay, how do we use the medium of pop music to like essentially make like protest songs? Because like we're writing all these songs like through like the gestation period is like 2020, 2021. And so like we all know what was going on then. It's COVID, it's the insurrection, it's the uprising, and it's for me personally like this intensity of being in seminary. So like it wasn't gonna be okay for me to like write like, ooh, I love you baby pop songs, you know. It had to be something of substance. And so I was thinking about this idea of the protest song, and for me, like, there's a danger in the protest song because in my experience as like a listener, they don't have a very long shelf life. I think like if I listen to Rage Against the Machine or something, like I think the music's really great, it's inspiring, it's awesome, but I feel like it's an artifact of a particular time and place. And so I can't really enter into the song fully and again take ownership of it. So that was this weird like tension zone of like, okay, I want to write songs that like aren't totally like nebulous or innocuous, but I want them to have a message, but I don't want to pummel the listener over the head with what I want that message to be. And I think that just speaks to like sometimes our commitments are in tension with each other, and like part of the creative process I think is like living in that tension zone and seeing what emerges out of it. And then on top of all that, what was happening for me is I really was like thinking like, how do we as songwriters, as musicians, as artists, respond to climate change and environmental destruction? Because I hadn't heard many songwriters speaking into this and writing into it in a way that felt like poetically potent, or that could really hold the enormity of what's at hand. And any time that I had heard songs that were trying to do that, it felt like they were like too prosaic, or like too, again, allegorical instead of applicable. So I think where I, like, that is this theme that threaded through, I think, all the songs. And where I ended up landing with them, I think, is to approach them, with maybe exploring the spiritual or mental, emotional, psychological side of this. And maybe that was the angle that I was trying to write into. So let me just give you a really quick sense before we dive in of the kind of flow of the songwriting process. We had the instrumentals for the most part, or at least the bare bones of them. So what would happen is that we would listen to these instrumentals over and over again and kind of sing gibberish words over top of it. And this was me and Andy. We were working like side by side with this. And a lot of times what would happen is that he would come up with the melodies, or at least the core of the melody. And then I would kind of mimic him. And then I would take like voice memo recordings of it. And then I'd listen to those over and over again. And I'd say, okay, that gibberish word kind of sounds like this word. And I would write kind of a melody and a lyric to it. And then let me show you some recordings of this, because it's kind of funny and interesting. Yeah.
Two chickens.
That's Andy. And I'm like mimicking him. Yeah, like. And that melody eventually became, "You got the magic." So it's like we're just gibberish words and gibberish melodies, and then comes the words. So then I would kind of string all these melodies together, write some words. I would then take the words back to Andy, and I would say, Andy, what do you like? What do you not like? And he would just be very honest and frank with me about what was working, what wasn't working. And then, yeah, we would just kind of go back and forth until it was, feeling good. And so, yeah, it was just a beautiful, like, collaborative process. To me, I'd always written lyrics. Like, it's a very vulnerable thing to sing and write lyrics. And so I hadn't been able to really sink into a collaborative relationship with many people. And through this process of us doing this, Andy and I came to that place of trust. So all along the process, we're like developing the instrumentals, and I'm taking like reams and reams of notes. And so here's just a couple of them. Like, it's just, I'm writing on my typewriter. Oh, we should get Josh Morrow in. Oh, we need a drum solo here. So we're just like, we're going back and forth. I'm taking notes. I'm transcribing it. Writing crazy things. And like in this process of all these huge amount of overdubs, like there were 14 other musicians we worked with. Like, it's very hard. I was kind of like the project manager, just keeping organized, because we're like, oh, we need a timpani on this, and we need like somebody to do a drum line on this, and when are we going to get Ben to come do the drum line? And it's like, it gets crazy. And so lots of charts like this. I wanted to show this one because it's kind of interesting. On the backside of this piece of paper, I discovered was my Hebrew exam from first year. One final thing. Here's all the musicians that played on it. I just want to show their names and give gratitude to them and all the songwriter collaborators, one of whom is with us here. So one last thing, all the artwork for the songs is from my mom. She just started like doing collage, and she did a whole series called Climate Survey. And given that like that's a lot of what I was wrestling with in these songs, it felt natural. So we chose a different piece of art for each song. Yes. Okay. I want to go into Face to Face. We can start listening to the songs. Would you rather hear the song first? And then I want to show a couple layers just to give you a sense of like how the song started, where it kind of evolved, and then where it ended up. Would you rather hear the layers first and then the song? Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, so we came up with this instrumental in this, we called it the Gaga era because we were listening to a lot of Lady Gaga and trying to channel her. And we came up with this fun exercise using dice where you come up with chord progressions using the dice. So I just want to demonstrate this because it's kind of hard to explain. This one is the first chord. This is the second chord, third chord, fourth chord. So we roll the dice. 3 chord, 5 chord, 3 chord, 2 chord. So
you can't ever get a 7 chord.
What? You can never get a 7, but not many people use the 7.
Or you could use the 2 as a 7.
Yeah. So in G that would be 3 and a 5. Back to 2 and 3. So we would just come up with chord progressions like that. And like that one isn't very cool, but sometimes you would come up with like good ones. So this is the very first recording that eventually become Face to Face.
Oh yeah.
That's Andy on the drums.
Yeah, dude.
Showing some stratigraphy of the layers that ended up becoming Face to Face. So that's first draft of the song, and then it becomes this key change. So, third draft.
Out of the ashes and there's no looking back. It's the rev of the engine at the end of the track. And it's like waking up in the aftermath. You still don't know.
That's just to give you a sense of like how much a song can evolve in the process of you trying to figure out what the song wants to be, you know, because again, it's like, my belief is like the song is out there, and I'm trying to like fish it out, you know. So here's what it became.
Out of the ashes and there's no looking back. It's the rev of the engine at the end of the track. And it's like waking up in the aftermath, and you still don't know. You're on the phone with the unknown. Time to pack your bag, walk out of the door. You don't live here anymore. You don't know where to go. Pick yourself off the floor. You don't live here anymore. Well, the truth is that there's nowhere left to run. And I've spent 40 nights upon the face of the sun. But it turns out I was the one behind the barrel of the gun, and I still don't know. I'm on the phone with the unknown. I was just guessing, nothing was out of the question. I had no intentions, no reservations, no expectations. Cause when the jester is the only one that's telling you the truth, Keystone is the only thing refused. You been holding up the wall with your hands jacked. Better backtrack, let it fall down to the ground. Time to pack your bag, walk out of the door. You don't live here anymore. You don't know where to go. Pick yourself off the floor. You don't live here anymore. It's time to pack your bag. Walk out of the door. Leave your map behind. You can't use it anymore. No more waiting for the encore to save you. I wanna see you face to face. Wanna see you face to face. I wanna see you face to face in the morning light. I wanna see you face to face in the morning light. I wanna see you face to face in the morning light. I wanna see you face to face.
Oh, thank you.
I heard it. That's you singing.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like you.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Who was the other voice? Also you or a team at Benway?
Let's see. Business song credits. Glenn, our bassist and also electronic music guru, is the other singer on this one. Yeah.
So the backup singing sound is him or
Is
you guys together?
it's basically us together. He's got the real smooth voice. The one I don't usually try to do backup vocals over my own stuff because my voice doesn't really work for backup vocals very well. Okay, questions. What do you think?
Can we hear this again? Just the first two versions?
Yeah.
They were so different from each other and from that final song.
Right?
I don't think I can play it fast enough.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude. Version 2. Version 3.
There was like more echoey and
Out of the ashes.
Yes. Yeah, and different instrumentation. Yeah. This one, I will say, we toiled over the song, probably more so than the other ones. Like, it was very, very hard to feel, because one of the things that's interesting about this song is that the whole song has the same chord progression throughout the whole thing. Oftentimes in like a well-written song, there will be different like chord progressions throughout. But this one, it was kind of like an experiment. Like how can you make a dynamic song with just one chord progression through the whole thing? So the way that we were pushing and pulling on different instruments coming in, like we went through that so meticulously, and after a while it was like kind of maddening. Yeah.
You want more questions by song, or do you want us to ask at the end? What
I think any questions should come and whenever they come up.
And Face to Face you wrote like years and years ago, right? So you've been working
It started. This song has been a saga. In a way, like we had to make the record because like I knew that this song needed a record. I started it in 2019. The crazy thing is that most of the lyrics had been written before COVID hit, and they took on this whole new meaning when like out of the ashes there's no looking back. It's the rev of the engine at the end of the track. It's like waking up in the aftermath and you still don't know. Like when COVID hit, it was like, whoa, that feels much different now. And one fun tidbit is that the line "leave your map behind" was originally, this was pre-COVID again, it was "leave your mask behind." So, you know, when we had to change the lyric because it was at the height of like that being a totally politicized thing.
And instead of sounding like a mask,
Yes.
it sounded like a literal kind of boring way.
Yeah.
Like it's no longer an interesting line.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or it's a totally different line. How did you decide to change the instrumentation from version 2 to this? Version 2, what's that instrument? It's just a keyboard, but what is it? It's sort of
It's an electric keyboard called the Wurlitzer.
yeah,
It's a Wurlitzer, yeah. It's a Wurlitzer with just acoustic guitar over it. How did we decide? I think Andy just wasn't sold. He didn't feel like it had the pop sound. Andy was like, Ned, we gotta get the pop sound, you know? And he really pushed me on that. We felt like the piano, just like an acoustic piano, had the ability to get that luscious pop sound. Yeah.
I have a few questions about the lyrics.
Yeah, please.
Am I reading too much Christian Testament into this? But pick up your bag, walk out of the door, you don't live here anymore. To me, like that's the story of the lay, the one they were carried on. Well, either the pool, like get up, you know, and you've been healed.
Yeah.
My story could be so much stronger. Or like when a lame person was carried through the roof by his friends and lowered through the roof on the mat. And just those are, and then you also talk about 40 nights.
Yeah, 40 nights.
Stand upon the face of the sun. So those are just two like biblical references for me that I can't cite. But I should. And also, I'm curious about the no more waiting for the encore to see. I'm wondering what that means for you. And specifically, the jack part.
Oh, yeah.
It's where it picks up really.
Uh-huh.
It's more rhythm. Jag better backtrack. You know. I just loved it so much.
Okay, for the first one, I think I wasn't trying to do anything specifically biblical, but I'm sure that was just like happening by proxy because, you know, that's what I was completely immersed in. And I think it's like one of my favorite Bob Dylan's probably my biggest influence lyrically. And he has this record called John Wesley Harding. and he's always throwing in these lines that are vaguely biblical in it, and it makes it like very, very powerful. Just like that, like tenor of language. And there's other like things on the record that do that. So I wasn't trying to go for it specifically, but it was happening. The second question was the encore. I think that was a post-COVID line. No. Okay, I think that what we were trying to go for in this song was like we've been born, we meaning like people living in this time period all across the planet, like we've been born into these insane circumstances. And I think that the song is asking like, what is the response? How do you live through that? How do you live with integrity in the face of these insane circumstances? And I think that the answer the song wants to posit, or at least a tentative gesture, is like, I want to see you face to face, like live with authenticity. And I think it's playing with that idea of it's not my fault, but it is my responsibility. And so I think that with the encore, it was just like no longer can I live by looking for external validation. I think that that's what that song, that line was trying to say. The third question was about. Yeah, that was an Andy line. He has he is. That was actually probably the hardest line to write. Let me show you something. One of the things that was really fun is in Andy's. So Andy has a studio, and that's where we recorded all of these. He has a projector in the studio, and so oftentimes what we would do is put on like visually stimulating movies while we were recording. And the one that became the soundtrack to this song, or the like visual accompaniment to this song, was this movie Ran by Akira Kurosawa, and it's a Japanese, it's King Lear set in feudal Japan. It's an insane movie. I very much recommend watching it. That is the jester of King Lear. So that's where we got that line, when the jester is the only one telling you the truth. Because that's kind of like in King Lear, it's like the jester is following him around and everybody else is like BSing him, and the jester seems to be BSing him, but he's the only one, you know. So I think the Jack back track, that all came out of that thing.
Cool musical moment for me. And it sounds like you said this song happens like in different temporalities. You said you believe it's always out there. You're just like trying to find it. And then it happens as you record and play these visuals. As you
Yes.
happens as you play it. As you practice it as all these renditions.
Yes.
How we receive it. So it's like such a collective, multiple product in a way.
Absolutely. And I think part of what we were trying to do is like, rather than trying to rely, we wanted to write songs that could be as good just played on the piano, like a person playing it on the piano and singing. To be like the song as just like you could see sheet music of it or whatever, and it would be good enough. You know, it didn't need all the even though we spent all this time doing the pop overlays or whatever, that it could just be this song. Here's some other visual. We were watching a lot of like silent films. This was when we were watching A Trip to the Moon. It's a really, really crazy movie. We were watching Metropolis a lot. Again, just trying to stimulate get out of your head, allow the song to move through you, and connect with the body, connect with a deeper knowing. Do we want to go on to song 2? Do you got it? Okay, cool. Yeah, cool. Okay, bye. Song number 2?
Yeah.
Everything was going fine. I was dancing in a low light, rolling with a no good low life, baby. No, 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 no. Everything was so nice. I was taking up all your time, sipping on a fine wine. Ask me if it feel right. Yeah, 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 yeah. Nights like this don't mess around me. Make a dead man walk, make a blind man see you. Cause you're rolling with a no good low life, and he looks just like me. Everything's going fine till 11:59. I thought I heard my soul cry. Asked me what it feel like a canary in a coal mine. Everything's so nice until I saw the iceberg travel through the eons. Never thought I'd be one to forget the feeling, feeling, feeling. Stay, turn it up, 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 turn it way up. All the way up, just wanna go baby. Last Saturday, baby, I wrote you a song, but I found out in the morning that it was all wrong. Well, the chorus was set in stone, but the verse just wouldn't make the cut. Back to square one. Don't wanna tell you that it's going fine when everything is on the line. Never thought I'd be one to forget the feeling. The only thing between me and the loaded cannon ain't got Pennsylvania Avenue. Was a sleeper in the 30,000 cherry blossom. Any one of them would do. Everything was going fine till 11:59. I thought I heard my soul cry. Asked me what it feel like a canary in a coal mine. Everything was so nice until I saw the iceberg travel through the eons. Never thought I'd be one to forget the feeling, 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 feeling.
Woo, that song is so fun. I don't have them on hand right now. This one was crazy. It was this. I happened to press record on a jam that we were doing in between takes for this record, Summertime Sandy. And so the piano, the drums, the synth was all just these insane musicians that we were working with, just jamming in the studio. And it was just like, this is amazing. And I was just so glad that I hit record, because then we took that and worked it and chopped it up, added some other things to it. And it became that song. So that was just happy, circumstance.
There's that song that plays with tempos a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How do you explain that? What's going on there?
I think it was just these insane musicians playing. It's mainly the drummer Chuck.
Yeah.
He's I think of he reminds me of the animal, in Sesame. Yeah. He's just this crazy guy. He's a mathematician and also an insane drummer. So it was just in the moment. He was just playing with it, it just happened organically.
I'm curious about your commitment to making this up off record. What was behind that?
I think it was just we wanted to give ourselves the challenge to do that. Like, and almost like is it possible to make a pop record that still has integrity? I mean, I think it was just like almost like like an artist study or whatever. Like when you see like Picasso has like a million different versions of like the blue guitarist or whatever before. It's just like the artist study. I think that's what it was. It was just like, is this possible? Just for fun, really. Yeah, and because I just really like pop music, and like I love Prince. Prince is one of my favorite artists. We were listening to a lot of Taylor Swift at the time. Yeah, I was just kind of done, like at least at that time, with making like things that were more esoteric. I wanted to make something that people could really just like anybody could listen to. That's the thing I like about pop music. It's like the every person's music, in a sense.
But is it fair to say that song sounds more challenging than some types of like pop?
Yes.
That song in particular, not the first one.
Yeah.
But that song sounds more like the changes in tempo and stuff. Do you think that's true?
I think that's true. And I think that just is that thing of like, there's only, we're like, when you're so close to the project, being so close to a project, like, you lose perspective on it. And like, so that's why I say like, we tried to make a pop record, but I don't know. I don't think that song is really necessarily pop music. But there's lots of like, you know, like when I listen through Prince's catalog, like there's tons of songs that are like very challenging, you know? Yeah.
Can you maybe define, you did a little bit, but I want to know what pop music is.
Popular music.
Well, okay. But like what makes it pop in your mind? Or popular? Or what, yeah.
I don't know how to answer that question. I think what makes it pop music for me is that somebody can recognize it as pop music. I don't know another way to answer it. It's to me, it's like a clean vocal, a good lyric that people can relate to, a good beat, something that makes you feel like you want to move, something that makes you feel good. I think those are probably the core elements that I think go into the cauldron of pop music. Yeah, earworms. Because another thing that we were always trying to do, like, we had like a mantra of like always throwing in a couple lines in each song that like a 5-year-old could understand. That's like on the first song, you're on the phone with the unknown. It's like anybody can get that line. Yeah.
I have a little question.
Mm-hmm.
Just about, so like, one thing that came to mind about pop music too is like how it always shifts.
Yes.
It's constantly shifting what is pop music.
Yeah.
And even kind of what you said defines pop music, like how you might answer that
Mm-hmm.
would always shift. And so kind of, like, I really loved how you talked about your songwriting process,
Mm-hmm.
and especially that Bobby McFerrin quote about like you're describing the song.
Yeah.
And I just want to ask, like, how do you feel, my question is kind of like, how do you feel after you've recorded the songs? Like, is there still more to catch? Or is it done? Like, you've caught it, in a sense? Like, maybe that it's not either or, but I'm just, like, wondering about that.
I mean, I'll just say, like, when I play these songs now, like on my guitar or piano or whatever, I want to sing them all very differently. I learned how to sing them in the process of singing them, you know? and I've sang them way more after the fact than when we were recording them. So like new levels of it were revealed, even just small nuances, but yeah. And I don't think you can ever catch it, like, because again, the song is it belongs to the people or whatever. So, and how you hear a song is entirely different than how I hear it, and how each of us, like, we bring our own experiences to the song. And I think that again goes back to that applicability versus allegory thing. It's like let me just like throw some paint on the canvas, and like we can just imagine what it means. That's why I like the idea of the motionness of a song rather than like a painting. It's like it's there, it's done, and like maybe the painter can go back and like take it off the wall and add a couple things, but like the song is an ever evolving thing. Yeah. I don't know, does that answer your question?
Totally.
Yeah. One thing that's crucial to bring in at this point is the date 1912, because this the only like real line that I knew going in to this when I was like working on the lyrics for this one was the only thing between me and the loaded cannon aimed down Pennsylvania Avenue was the sweet perfume of 30,000 cherry blossoms. And so where this comes from is that when we were working on, like, first in January 2021, when we were first working on the lyric, I watched the Titanic movie. And something about seeing, first of all, it was like a desperately cold winter in Indiana where we were, and so I think I could relate it a little bit better to the people freezing to death in the water, but something about the image of the Titanic like grabbed my imagination completely, on so many levels. I felt like it was just this like this mega symbol of COVID, you know, the poor, the third class people. There's not enough lifeboats for them. Like I remember when COVID first hit, it was like people kept saying like, yeah, we're all in the same boat, but then it became clear that we weren't. And like on the Titanic, like of course it was the rich people in first class that were getting off, but they would put like 20 people on a boat, 20 people on a boat, when they could hold like 80. And I also felt like this image of the Titanic, like what, it wasn't really the iceberg that took down the Titanic. It was like hubris, you know, the unsinkable. They kept saying the unsinkable Titanic, and it was that hubris that caused them to go into the ice field, and to go more knots than they should have, and to go through the ice field at night, and so all of these little things added up to this disaster. And I felt like there was something like almost like a modern biblical, like it felt like a biblical story of our time or something, or archetypal. So anyway, so we got really into the Titanic. I went and dived into it very much, as Charlotte can attest. I just think that these images are powerful. It's like seeing, like, to me, it was like the Titanic. It was like the violent death of this period of time, and like it's so like opulent and like decadent, and like I say, like a couple things go wrong, and it's all done. And you know. So anyway, so we decided we wanted the record to be set in 1912. For no other reason, just then it's like sometimes good to give yourself creative parameters, because sometimes you can just go, if like the sky is open, then you can go anywhere. But if you just say like, okay, maybe everything's going to be set in 1912, then you give yourself like, okay, here's a couple things that I can write about and expand on. So I went to Wikipedia and I printed out like the notable events of 1912. And I just kept this with me and made notes on it when I was like trying to drum up lyrics. And so a lot of things on the record ended up from this 1912 thing. One of them is that in 1912 is when the Emperor of Japan gave 3,000 cherry trees to the president. And that became, you know, the grove of cherry trees in DC. So that line of like, the only thing between me and the loaded cannon, that was really like specifically about the insurrection. And I was thinking really honestly about all the other white guys that I had worked construction with who also were like Trumpers, and I knew probably some people that ended up at the insurrection. And I was just thinking like, that could have been me, you know, any other thing could have happened, and me, this white guy from Indiana, like could have ended up there. And so I guess that line for me was like, maybe the earth and my love of nature is the thing that like saved me from being one of those people. Yeah.
And that construction and maybe mining too. Like I thought I heard my soul saying canary in the code.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean the poetics, just of your lyrics of your songs is what like his heart.
Yeah. Yeah, this one in particular, it was like, I really wanted it to be like a free association kind of song. Like, it actually was from in like spring of 2021, I remember the intensity of everything that had been happening. I felt like my mind, heart, spirit, I could not take anymore. Like I felt like everything was like totally jumbled and disorganized. And so I think that's what I was like writing into. So it's like everything was going fine until 11:59. I thought I heard my soul cry. So it's like you're humming along, and then all of a sudden like crash. It's all everything's scrambled. Yeah, that one was a fun one to write. It was a very, very challenging song to write, but we collaborated with another lyricist on that one. Yeah. Questions? Move on. Cool.
Thank you, Ned.
Okay. Bye-bye.
You got the magic, yeah, yeah, yeah. You got the magic, yeah, yeah. You got the magic, yeah, yeah. You got the magic, got the magic, got the magic. I took the first train that I saw. I drew my cards. On your
Oh, shoot.
Night on the Wings of a Dragon.
Yeah. Yeah. That was another 1912 song. We discovered that MDMA was first sequenced in 1912. So that's where that song came from. This is a quote I love. What do great artists do when you see a world around you that's in turmoil? Some of the best artists make you feel good. They look to the future. To me, that was the mantra of this one. It was just like, just a song to make you feel good. Yeah.
Could hear your love of Prince in that.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of features of that.
Yeah.
Can you tell us some musical things? Like the bass, was it played in a special way? It sounded. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a synth.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
Glenn
it's
playing on synth. Yeah. And I think there's also like I don't know how to describe it, like a spanky, slappy sound of the bass, like pew pew pew.
Yeah.
That's is called an envelope filter on the bass.
The envelope is like the.
Yes, exactly.
It's like,
Yep. Yeah, the like EQ bandwidth. So it's like the envelope filter is going through and yeah.
That's like late 70s, early 80s. It was like dance music.
Yes.
Doing some of those, like with those same sounds.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. Like Parliament Funkadelic, like Bootsy Collins, that was like his sound. Yeah. The yeah. Yeah. Any other questions about that song? You got the magic.
It also made me think, just because this is just free association, but you know, in Pitch Perfect, the when the boys come out, you guys know this movie, right? Pitch Perfect, the acapella movie.
You never heard of it?
Holy shit! Oh, that's like me.
I need to see this.
Really? No one knows Pitch Perfect.
I've seen it, yeah. Just the first one.
It's only from like 5 or 6 years ago, I think. 'Cause it's not like a matter of my age. It's longer. 10 years ago.
7 or 8. Yeah.
All right. Anyway.
I need to watch this movie.
Well, it's all about acapella, so never mind. Anyway, the concluding acts, this is boys acapella band and girls acapella band. That's kind of like, but the boys song comes out and it's like, "You got the magic." Is this opening line?
Oh.
Yeah.
Whoops.
It's a great song. No. I just didn't know if but you obviously that was not an influence or like a cross reference. That's fine. Yeah. Just curious.
That's funny. Yeah. Yeah, no, but I mean, that song, I feel like we were just doing the classic thing where you, like, D'Angelo does this a lot, where it's like, you don't know if they're talking about a lover or about drugs. That's kind of what we were after in this song. Like, that feeling of, like, when you've fallen in love and, like, it's like, you're just, like, high on the world and on life and, like, everything's sparkly and, like, you feel, like, this childlike joy and like, exuberance. That was, I think, just the feeling that we wanted to generate with that song. Yeah. That was our TikTok song. Yeah. That's our song for the people.
Has it made it to TikTok?
No. Do you have a TikTok?
Actually, I do.
I think tonight we can make it to TikTok. Okay.
Shots rang out under the full moon, snow on the ground. I hear little ones cry, it splits the night. I came running for you. I took the long way home, but I can feel the stone where a heart used to be. And another dead man walking. Well, the papers would not run the story, but the story ran with me. So I walked all night as far as I could in the full moonlight, and there I stood, fell down on my knee, wounded for the last time. Was I what you wanted me to be? The cemetery's filled with your enemies, and they're all dancing with me. And after all my talking, it's just another dead man walking. Well, the papers would not run the story, but the story ran with me. Time's running out from the inside. I was running in from the outside. Time's running out from the inside. I was running in and out, in and out, in and out. Just like a thief in the night, he's taking his flight. A thief in the night, he's taking flight. And after all my talking, it's just another dead man walking. Well, the papers would not run the story, but the story ran with me. It would set me free. No, 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 dead man walking, just another dead man walking, just another dead man walking, just another dead man, just a dead man, just a dead man.
I love particularly about that one. I think how like the chorus just feels like it's a totally different mood.
Yeah.
It just kind of shifts in and out of that.
Yeah.
I really like. I love that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's a Prince song that maybe we were trying to tap into that. It's called Controversy. Do you know the song Controversy? It's just like it's this totally like a tonal thing, and then it just blooms into this beautiful, lush, harmonious chorus. Yeah. Yeah. This one was funny because this was another Dice song. Were you here when I was doing the Dice thing? It's just the way that we generated chords. The chord progression is 1, 5, 6, 4, which is like the cheesiest chord progression of all time. And like Let It Be is 1, 5, 6, 4. It's a great song, obviously, but it's just like the most overplayed pop chord progression. And the Dice gave us 1, 5, 6, 4, and so we said, okay, you know, we must follow the Dice.
You were talking about.
Yes, exactly.
Like, okay, we have to work within this constraint.
Yeah.
So the song we can put it up.
Yeah, totally. It was almost like this thing of like, is it possible to take this chord progression that everybody's done, and like that when I hear it on the radio, I'm like, oh my gosh, another 1, 5, 6, 4, like, you know, next channel. Like, is it possible to take that chord progression and make something that's still like interesting to listen to? Like Paparazzi, Lady Gaga, that's the chord progression, and I never noticed that was what the chord progression was, because the melody is so good. So I think that's part of what we were trying to do in that one. Yeah.
What are the things that conceal, like that make a chord progression less obvious? Like you just need to want the melody, like the, right? Like what is it that would keep that from
I think at least with this one, it was like we went through a lot of different vocal melodies for the chorus, and each one felt like I don't know if there's any way for me to even codify what it was. It's just a feeling. It was like I think it was also like having a lyrical content that felt like substantial and weighty and real and heavy. That's I think what ended up happening, because at first this one went through a lot of rewrites. At first it was like it was kind of like this gimmicky, like Agatha Christie, like Poirot murder mystery thing. It was another 1912 thing. I was like trying to imagine like that there was a heist that had happened at a dinner party, and it was just like it was just a dead end. I tried so many different variations in that, but it just you felt exactly. Whoa. Yeah. So I think it's just trial and error. Yeah.
Those collages are really good.
Right? They're so good.
That makes me think of the like the cover of OK Computer.
Yeah. Totally.
It has that kind of like layers, and kind of hard to pick out what depth you're looking at. But that kind of goes with your ecological theme of your album, right?
Totally.
But you said that's what she was aiming for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it was just working with my mom on this was just super, super cool. Yeah. Because like when we chose the art, we wanted it to be art that felt like the music. So like to me, like that, art felt like Dead Man Walking. Yeah. Shall we continue? We.
Was that like synthy, like organ in there?
Mm-hmm.
That was fun.
Yeah, nice.
I don't know what you call it, the build up really swell.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let me see what. It's hard. So there's so many layers on all of them. Yeah, there was a lot of synth on this one. Yeah. Yeah, like an arpeggiated synth, like that thing going on. Yeah. Proceed. Charlotte's heard these songs so many times. She's been so tolerant with me.
It was, before it was Dead Man Walking, it was Bald Head Baby.
Yeah. that was like in the
stand-in.
that was the stand-in. Baby, it's just another bald head, baby. I don't know what. It's so weird. That's that gibberish thing. It's like you just make up like little gibberish words, and then, hopefully the crappy ones don't stick.
Chest, little dust in my eye, little blush in the sky. The sun was rising fast. I laid still for hours, just me and the desert flowers. But I hear howling echoing from where I came. The sweat ran down my brow, down to my feet. I swear I could see the ghost of my former life chasing me. Vultures fly over my helpless head, and I see a sight, a blurred line between the land and sky. I still see the guard tower glinting in the distance. If I cut down more can I
Woo! Comment. Yeah, that was another 1912 song. There was a crazy meteor shower in Arizona that many people thought it was the end of the world. And so when we had the instrumental of that song, we felt like it just felt like a comet. It felt like a meteor shower, and so we were like, okay, we're gonna like go with that, because Andy had found out about the meteor shower thing that happened. This one we collaborated with our buddy Pete on. He really wanted to write like an abolition song. We were at a dead end with our stuff. He wanted to write an abolition song. We came together and sat down and like we were like, okay, how can we bring together an abolition song with this comet thing? And what we ended up coming up with was Andy is an audio technician for this show 60 Days In. Have y'all heard about this show? It's a weird reality TV show that basically takes place in county jails, where like a person goes undercover, like, and goes into the jail, and so his job is to like basically do the night shift at like for like 12 hours in these county jails, and he listens to the audio from the people that are inside. And one of this crazy story that he heard was a man who he was getting released from the county jail, and there was nobody there to pick him up. It was in the middle of Arizona, and they just said like, okay, you're free to go, and he's like, well, there's nobody to pick me up, and then there's nothing I can, like, how am I going to get out of here? And he ended up just wandering through the Sonora desert, and just crazy. And for us, it became this, like, we were thinking about the image of the comet and this man, and like, here he is released from jail, but like he's still in the middle of the Sonora desert with nobody to like help him. So we were thinking about the image of the comet as like holding on to my shape as I break. It's as soon as he getting back towards like the earth, like the force of gravity, or like the inertia of getting back into like society, is what keeps him in the same circumstances. So it's basically a song about like recidivism, I guess. So yeah, that's what we're going for in that one. Yeah. Any questions about that one? We also wanted it to like feel Western, even before we had before that songwriting thing happened. We wanted it to be like feel like it like took place in Arizona, because we had this Arizona thing. So it was like, yeah. How do you make a Western sounding song?
Yeah. So what were the Western sounding songs?
We wanted we ran the guitars through filters to make them sound like crackly and like old school, like kind of like it was coming out of an old speaker box or something. instrumentation. Yeah. Jeez. Let me look at. It's yeah. I think it was mainly the filters through of that we were putting the instruments through to give it that feel. Yeah. The original idea is we wanted it to be like a space cowboy thing. Yeah.
You play vibraphone?
Hmm.
You play vibraphone?
Yeah.
You have one?
No. I mean, I play like that was me in the beginning. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. It was funny because the mute for the vibraphone didn't work.
Oh, shit.
So
So it's just stuck on or off?
it was stuck to be completely sustained.
Yeah.
So what we had to do is I was standing here with the sticks, and Andy was on the other side, and he was muting it with his hand. So I'd go bing, and he'd go. Tsh. So bing, 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 and he'd go. So he should have gotten vibraphone credit too.
That's funny.
All right, 2 more songs. Should we? Do you want to keep moving, or did we have anything else we wanted to talk about with that one? Keep moving.
I know that it's Saturday night, but I don't feel like hanging. I just wanna stay inside, play my guitar all night, probably get a little high. The time is right, we can pick it up in the morning. I don't wanna stay the night, it's taken so long, but it's right on time. I've always been on the outside looking in, playing a game that I could never win. I see them laughing and joking and playing and dancing. I think to myself I could be doing anything better than this. So I spend my nights looking at the sky. The time is right, we can pick it up in the morning. I don't wanna stay the night, it's taken so long, but it's right on time.
Great song. What was the sounds at the beginning? But
The crackly sounds.
It sounded like plugging in an amp or something.
Yeah, exactly. I took in the middle guitar player the when my friend Aaron did those guitar parts, I just recorded the whole thing and took all the little weird plunky things that happen in the middle and like just put them in there. What we were going for on that one was this. I wanted it to be like a scene of like the piano guy playing at like a after hours dusty bar. Nobody's paying attention to him. Everybody's like drunk and he's just in the corner playing kind of to himself. And then you kind of like enter his mind and hear what like he's hearing, the arrangement. That's like when the ripping guitar solo happens at the end. Yeah. So that's what we were going for. And so I wanted it to be like just these like weird sounds, like the guitarist is like, oh, like I don't, you know, he's night's over, dude, you know, time to pack up, and he's unplugging his guitar. And
those little sounds to me gave it a sense of, it's interesting that you said wanted to be like a bar. I didn't picture a bar necessarily, but I became aware of space. Sometimes
yeah.
it's super cleanly produced, you're floating, you're just hearing sound.
Uh-huh.
I felt like, oh, I can almost hear the edges of the room.
Yeah.
I was picturing an old schoolhouse or something, but
nice.
Just the beginning again.
Yeah.
But I was picturing being in a little church and just hearing like they're not quite started. It's just if you don't mind, just like
just
10 seconds, just the beginning. I want to hear it again.
I found glass, the sound of people like glasses clinking. Yeah. Ambient noise. Yeah. And I love those ambient sounds. Like, there's a lot of those little weird things that we put in there.
Is there children's voices?
There's some like kids' voices. I think we've just like searched on YouTube like people chattering, you know? Yeah. Oh. Yeah. When I was looking through my pictures, I found this one. This is me and my, like, when I like wrote the core of the song, I was like living in my dad's basement in Indiana, doing my construction, and I just holed up and like I didn't talk to anybody. I just worked on music, and this song is like, I would say maybe probably the most autobiographical of all the songs on the record. Like, I think the eye of the songs, with the exception of this one, is like not me. You know what I mean? It's a character. Yeah, different characters.
So I'm gonna stay up all night playing my guitar or something like
yeah.
that. That's more you.
Yeah, that's more me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I just thought this was a funny like artifact of that time. Yeah.
That song, in terms of structure or something, it had a bit of a guitar solo.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing else has had something quite like that, has it? Or has it?
There hasn't been. I don't think there's.
Heard, right?
Mm-hmm. I think it's just that one.
So is that a deliberate choice, or what's your thought on putting the solo in? It surprised me.
Yeah, I know. We wanted it to be this moment of like almost like a wave, like you get hit with a tsunami or something. We wanted it to like all just like, again, like that image of like you're entering into the singer's head or whatever and imagining the arrangement that he's imagining. And so,
a cool music video for it.
Right?
Like a dreary little bar, not paying attention, and then like from his, and it goes into color.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just, like the full band. Like,
totally.
here's what I'm doing.
That's exactly what we were trying to imagine, that scene. Yeah. So he's like imagining like, you know, like a ripping. It was my buddy Peter. I was like, play a Van Halen solo. You just give me like a ripping Van Halen solo. And he's like, all right, got you. Oh. Last song?
Yeah.
Cool. I just want to really show you really briefly, just again for the stratigraphy, and this is the first like what this song originally was. So, just again to give that sense of like how much a song can evolve in the process of, you know, you pursuing it.
Something told me not to stay, but I did anyway. Next thing I was on the crown of a ship that was going down. Not enough lifeboats to go around, but somehow I'm still breathing. And I still don't know the reason that nobody saw the beacons, but we were on the starboard side looking cross-eyed at the sea. Cause everything that brought us this far could not help us anymore. You gotta leave it all at the door. Something inside is to die for a new life. But Mona Lisa smile, and all along, all you thought, am I still breathing? Yes, I'm still breathing. And if I'm still breathing, I still got a reason. It's a necessary change that you gotta go through, even if it's out of the blue. I recall driving you around when you were 2, sipping on a witch's brew. But now the water is rising slowly, your vessel is sinking below the waves. Nothing left to do. But if I make it out alive, I'm still breathing.
Those are your clearest Titanic references?
That's the clearest Titanic reference. Yeah, that end montage is like the sinking of the Titanic,
And
you
the
know.
voice thing, the effect on the voice, something was going down.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was like it was like the Titanic song, and then when I was working on it, I was driving my niece to the fair, and she was maybe 11 at that. Yeah. She was maybe about 11 when that happened, and it was just me and her, and we had this like really profound conversation. I don't know, it was just one of those moments where I was like, oh, you're like this whole person. I think it was maybe the first moment where I was like maybe saw her as not just like my little niece or whatever. I was like, wow, you have this whole life, inner life. And I don't know, I think I was just imagining the song as like a conversation between like an uncle and a niece, and the niece is on the Titanic and she's survived, you know? Yeah. So, yeah. There you have it.
It's interesting, like, you know, missed some of the conversation before, but I had enough of the context to know, like, what the song was about with both, like, Titanic and COVID, but for some reason I still just heard so much of, like, the climate crisis in that song.
Yes.
Like, especially, like, the I'm still breathing, like, this
Yes.
crisis that we're in, but somehow we're gonna, like, move through it.
Yeah.
But also, like, not all of us will.
Yes.
I mean, it's also a friend of mine, Earth Day's tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think for me, what I realized with seeing how, like, I don't know, when I had seen like pandemic movies or something before COVID hit, I didn't like have this idea of like, oh, it's the poor who are gonna get hit the worst. You know, I just thought like, oh, everybody's gonna get sick and people will be in hospitals, but it's kind of okay. It didn't, that social dimension of it never hit until we saw what happened. And seeing that made me like realize on a completely new level that it's the exact same dynamic with climate change. And that I never had made that connection like fully, that it's actually the poor, the disenfranchised, the oppressed, the people who didn't do anything to cause this, that are currently and will continue to be hit the worst. So it felt to me as though when I saw the Titanic movie and got into like Titanic, like it became this image for both COVID but also climate crisis, and how the two have the same dynamic. Yeah.
Was the end of the song, so you're saying I'm still breathing, was it a question? Or it was a statement, it's positive in that regard, I'm still breathing. The end of the song, here's my question. It sounded less hopeful than the song had sounded to that point. Did I get it right, or was that deliberate?
It felt less hopeful. That's
It made it sound
interesting.
like it broke apart a little bit.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Oh yeah,
I felt that tension as well.
Really?
And I had a similar question. I mean, I was just thinking, like, you know, where do we end? It's like,
Yeah.
do we end with this message of, like, because I felt the end, it was like, oh, we were all sinking. It's
Mhm.
like, oh shit, it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
am I breathing at the end? I'm not sure. Like, from the sound, I got
Yeah,
that.
so.
Yeah.
I don't know how to answer this question, but I'll just share, just because this might be illuminating, the guy singing in the background. That's Glenn, and what I told him, I said, Glenn, I want imagine you're the ghost of the people on the Titanic. You're the choir of the ghosts singing from the bottom of the ocean. So he's going. I think it's saying like, as long as I'm still breathing, I'll just keep trying my best.
Can you hit play again?
Yeah.
Here?
This-
20 seconds left? Can we just hear?
Definitely. Let me turn it up because I really like this part. It's like so trippy.
I'm still breathing.
noticed that time how I think it was the seagulls, maybe birds.
Yes.
That's the last thing we hear.
Yeah. And I think that was part of what I, like, a message of hope that I wanted to impart.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that, like, the character in the song does, like, survive, and, like, to hear the birds. Yeah. But yeah, like, from Damascus to Waterloo, it's like, from like, the moment of, I don't know, like, I like that, like, the both literary terms, like, somebody's Damascus moment and somebody's Waterloo moment. Like Paul on the road and Napoleon's, like, definitive defeat. It's like from my moment of awakening till, like, I can't walk anymore, you know, until it's all over. Like, as long as I'm still breathing, I'll continue. So I don't know that it's a hope. I mean, I don't know that there's hope in that. It's just a resolve, I think.
It's not a word. I mean, that's this is a measure of hope in that.
Yeah.
It's something fluttering, living.
Yeah.
I suppose you could read it like post-human.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
things carry on.
Yeah.
Maybe the last of the human voice.
Mm-hmm.
Your water gurgle. There's still a bird.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. The whale song. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Thank you all so much. Yeah. 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 I don't know what to say to conclude. It was just really a process of, like, surrender and trust and collaboration. I mean, that's, I think, what came out of it for me was, like, this process of me and Andy working on these songs. Like, we really had to learn to trust each other, and I think that's, like, the heart of good music is trust. So yeah. Thank you all.